All right, and we're live. Okay, after like every single time, there's always a problem with my computer and stuff. But you know what? I have a new computer. Actually, it's right here. I have a new computer right here.
When we're not using that?
But I don't have a webcam on it.
Oh, and who?
I forgot to buy one. So. But it's okay because we're online, so it's great. Hey, everybody, welcome back. And we read this book. Such a beautiful cover. Oh, we all have it. It's amazing. Thank you, Amanda, for picking it up for us.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
That's why this time all of us have the same cover art. So if you guys remember, was it the chimes? We all had a different one.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah. So this book is Karen's pick, called The Strings of Murder by Oscar de Muriel.
Something like that.
And I have to say, it was a really fun read. And I think we all have very differing opinions on different things. But before we do that, Amanda, how have you been? Are you excited for spring break?
Oh, sweet Jesus, yes.
How many more weeks? 2 more weeks or 3?
2 more weeks, and mostly just because I just finished report cards, and that was fun.
Nice. I heard apparently they might be getting rid of letter grades.
It depends on the thing. We were thinking about that, and I think we decided to not do the beta version of it. But next year, apparently, we're going paperless, so everything is posted online and it is accessed by parents, and we don't have to print things out, which would actually eliminate a lot of the issue. However, I think our high school is already doing that, and they're having a lot of issues with
software.
With software, yeah, because it's
because the problem with that is that you have to build something from the ground up, and it's specific for the user, right? So if it's not built very well, then it's going to be like, could you imagine doing like an Excel spreadsheet for every child online?
Yep.
That would be terrible.
And you know that the parents will, like, as soon as they get access, they'll be checking all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And then complaining will be that much easier. So.
But, welcome to the 21st century.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Hey, Karen, how have you been?
I've been really busy. Really busy. And today, forgive me if I'm a little bit out of it because I taught kindergarten. So it's a different kind of shindig than music. But it was fun.
Different stress.
It's different. I like it, though. So,
yeah. So are you doing because kindergarten's only half day, are you doing like 2 half days then?
No, kindergarten's full day now.
Oh
yeah, it's been full day.
Wow. Okay, so you have to do multiple things then. Like
this was just TOCing, so it was sort of a one-off, which was nice. And it's a group that I do teach on regularly in music, so that I know them. Nice. So that was kind of nice. So at least I knew their names.
Mm-hmm. But it's just like a lot of really small kids.
It's just a lot of really small kids that constantly need you and hug you, and hugs are great, but all the time you're kind of like,
there's a lot of touching in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Not by choice.
They're sweet though. So I mean, I enjoyed my day, but my brain's kind of out to lunch. So
understandable.
And why I don't miss doing summer camps anymore. I used to do them every year, and I stopped doing them this past year, and I was like, wow, I can enjoy my summer without having to want to kill kids.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
And then how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. I've been pretty busy. I actually started a personal YouTube channel, so I've been posting.
Yes, I've been watching.
Yeah, I just did a video this morning, and then I had a gig in the afternoon at a retirement home in Sydney. But it's been really good. I've also jumped into CrossFit.
Oh God!
Yeah, so I'm going crazy with that right now. But it's been fun. I have to say, I found a balance. Except I cannot do performing, CrossFit, and crochet at the same time. Because all 3 of them blow out my forearms and my wrists. Yeah. So so I'm on a forced crochet leave, so I can't touch. Yeah. So once my concert, my concert kind of tour is done, which is kind of in May, then I'll be able to start crocheting again. But until then, I'm not allowed to touch the hook because I remember this one time I finished I had a CrossFit thing in the morning, then I had 2 performances at home. I was like, oh man, I just want to chill out. Let's do something that's like really relaxing. I'm going to crochet, and I started crocheting. I was like, so
These hands.
yeah, pretty much. Like I was like this, right? Because like you're crocheting like this, right?
Yeah.
So no, I have to stop doing that. But I miss it a lot. But you know what? Like I said, so far so good. I mean, we had snow for one day and it's all gone now. So hallelujah, hallelujah.
Yeah.
How's it in like on the mainland, Amanda? Is it sticking?
It snowed on yesterday. Oh, was it yesterday? Yeah, it snowed yesterday, and it snowed like all day yesterday. Like as soon as I walked into the school, it started snowing, all the way till like 3 o'clock, and then it just started to rain. And I think there was a touch of snow when Mike came home, and other than that, it's just wet outside. It's just gross.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Let's go into this. So our format is overall impressions, then we go into character, plot, and then music as a theme. So, Amanda, why don't you take it off first? What did you think about this book?
Overall, I actually really enjoyed this book, even though I have some very strong words later in this little segment. But
I'm looking forward to it.
I actually really enjoy this. And I'm like, this is actually really interesting. And there were moments where I just kind of like laughed out loud, which was a kind of a nice change over like reading something that's super serious. I actually forgot, what did we read last? Was it Nocturnes?
Nocturnes.
Yeah. So that was kind of more like that serious, like, oh, that romantic. But this one was actually quite fun. I actually enjoyed it. I'm actually looking forward to get the second book.
Yeah. It was interesting, but I will get to my points once I go to Karen. Karen, what were your overall thoughts?
I thought it was a perfect pick for February because my February was insane. It was really nice and light, and I liked that. I did kind of struggle to get into it. I found that I could easily just put it down and not return to it for a while. So I kind of struggled with picking it back up. But once I hit a certain point, I was just like, go, go, go. And I enjoyed the ride. I enjoyed
the ride.
It was good. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. My overall impressions, I also really enjoyed this book. I think it's because there were a lot of tropes that they were making fun of.
Yes.
The whole like good thing, like the whole good cop, bad cop thing, except they were both bad cops. The whole like when you think detective and this kind of like Jack the Ripper, you automatically think Sherlock Holmes, right? Like Scotland Yard and all those things. So you automatically think that. So I was like, this is really interesting. I wonder how they're going to spin it. And I did enjoy the fact that there was there were mainly 2 characters that you followed around and a bunch of side characters, and I think we'll get to this later, but I think music as a theme was very strong in this book, very, very, very strong. Yeah, it was so much fun. I have to say I don't dislike the characters. I find them very eccentric. And I think that's why they were so interesting, because they were so eccentric and they were so different from one another that, I started off being like, oh, okay, some of these characters they're kind of rubbing me the wrong way because this person's like a racist pig.
Yep.
Right? But after a while, I was like, actually, you know what? There's a certain charm to him, because I have to remember that this was in Edinburgh in 1888.
Yeah.
So maybe there, even to this day, we do have those problems with, different social statuses and different people thinking. And maybe for me, I haven't read a lot of stuff in this period, so I wouldn't know. But I just attributed it to the fact that those kind of prejudgments were already there during that time, and it was pretty normal for someone from quote unquote the city to be like, okay, you're not from the city, therefore you're not a Londoner, you're kind of backwater kind of stuff. So for me, once I got over that, I was like, this book is so much fun. And it was so easy to read. I actually read it really quickly, and then I had to stop for the last 3 chapters. So I read 3/4 of it, December 29th and December 30th.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
And then I was like, oh my God, I still have 2 more months left. So I put the book down, read another book, and then reread the beginning again.
Oh,
But then I got the same thing. Like I read it in the first 3 days of February, and I was like, no, I gotta stop doing this. So I gotta stop. All right, I'm gonna stop. So I just finished reading it like 5 days ago. The last couple of chapters. So the last couple of chapters are very, very fresh in my head. I don't remember much of the beginning. But
Well, I think what's good is that you went back and read the prologue, because I think at a certain point I went back and read the prologue because suddenly we had context for what was going on. Because before it was like, okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's jump into the plot right now since we're talking about the prologue. I agree. I thought I was reading the prologue and I was like, okay, this is interesting. Who are we talking about? And then once we got like, oh, interesting. Like, this is great. We finally have that connection to who we're talking about. But for me, I think the problem was like the prologue really distracted me because I was reading it. I was like, okay, this is very interesting. But even up until the murders started happening, right? And there's this like whole like, oh, like, McGray is really into like the occult and stuff like that. I still didn't put 2 and 2 together for a very, very, very long time. And I completely forgot about the prologue until I read it again from the very beginning. I was like, oh, right, okay, so this girl who's in the insane asylum is that girl in the prologue.
Yeah.
I get it now. So yeah.
It wasn't touched for a really long time.
Yes.
And so you kind of just forgot about it. And then when it was brought back, you went, oh, I think that was the beginning. And because it wasn't linked in as quickly as it could have been.
Yeah.
Sort of just, it felt like a memory that you could kind of, like you knew you were supposed to remember it, but you couldn't quite remember the details. And
and I think the main problem was that because the second character didn't show up for a while.
Yeah.
Right? So you had the first character, and then we developed him for a little bit, and then he leaves his home to go to Edinburgh. And then you meet the second character, and then you have to develop that character, and then you get into that, right? So I think it's just because that for me, the pacing was a little bit like, I get how and why that had to happen, but it just took so long that I forgot about the prologue and stuff.
So here's a question. Would it have been fine if we had taken the prologue out completely and inserted that story maybe interspersed throughout the book? If people brought it up, like the coroner says, oh, don't you know about McGray's background and his sister? And then you kind of get the story that way instead of the prologue. It just felt a little disjointed, but
yeah, I agree. That was very disjointed. Like it just because like you have McGray come in, and actually for a while, like I thought, okay, it could be McGray, and if I hadn't read about the fact that he went to go visit his sister, I wouldn't have known. I thought it could have been applied to the killer.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have known. And I think, you're right. That's the problem. The problem is because we didn't know, like we don't get anything revealed about McGray's past until he meets the sister. And even then,
you don't know.
It's not very clear.
Is it because it's a mystery that the author just wants to keep it all very mysterious, so you don't have everything set until a certain point of the book?
Could be.
Yeah.
I think part of it is also just like because the entire book is written in the point of view of sorry, I just had a rough
Frey.
Yeah. Sorry.
Thanks, Max.
Since it's written in the point of view of Frey, I guess we don't like logically know much about McGray unless he says it. So written about that, you can't be like, oh, and then McGray did this, blah blah. Because you really don't know. So it could be just the way that it's written, but I kind of like that you don't know anything about McGray. I kind of like that you go through and you're like, okay, this guy is nuts, but he seems to be somewhat put together. And oh, by the way, there's this huge family thing that's going on. And I think that's how, at least that's how I started connecting with McGray more. Because as soon as he was introduced, I was like, oh, he's kind of insane. Like he's running around in a kilt, like yelling at people. He doesn't come into work ever.
Bit of a nut job.
Yeah, and then you kind of get to know him. You're like, oh, actually, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah. I found it very interesting when they started talking about when Frey realizes that McGray is actually probably closer in age to him than he thought.
Yeah.
And that kind of shows a little bit in the way that he probably lived a lot more disastrous events than the entitled Frey has. Right?
Entitled is a very polite word of saying it.
Yeah. Well, and also, I mean, like, you also have to remember, like, Frey is from a very well-off family.
That's true.
And the fact that, like,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so both of them are from like pretty well-off families, right? Like but the thing is, you don't get that revealed about McGray
until later.
Right? But in Frey's thing, it's just like he was supposed to be betrothed to this girl. He was supposed to be a doctor, but he couldn't stomach it, right? So he had a high education. He's doing this detective thing because he found passion doing it and stuff like that. So to set him up as like he's like a rich kid but not really, but then like the entire thing is just like, oh my god, it's just a suit.
I don't know, I feel like Frey is like I'm gonna show you what I have wealth, therefore I'm gonna show you that I have wealth, and McGray's kind of like whatever, I have
but I also think it's different though, right? Because they're both approaching this in a different way.
That's true.
Frey is approaching finding this killer as like I need my job back.
Yeah.
Versus McGray is just like, I'm trying to help my sister, and I don't care what people think. I don't care what people feel, right? I want to help my sister. I want to help my family. So I think their motives are so different. So for Frey, obviously, it makes sense for him to want to look good and want to get this done as soon as possible. And for him, it's just like, I'm only going to be in Edinburgh for like a short amount of time, so I don't want to inconvenience myself.
Whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas McGray has been hunting the occult since the events of his family. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I think like because of that, it's very, very different. And also like they were just brought up in a different culture. Like we do know that McGray is from a very wealthy family, and that's why he hates the art glasses.
Yeah.
Well, and McGray's family name has been sort of tarnished because of all of these events. So they used to kind of live in the sort of lap of luxury, but now they've kind of been brought down, and their whole family is supposedly insane, and the art glasses don't help it.
Yeah.
Whereas Frey's family is so well known that Madame Art-Glass is like, I've heard of your family. Ooh, I have somebody.
Please marry my granddaughter.
I don't even remember her name. What's her name?
I don't even. Oh, Mrs. Art. Okay, wait. I made a character list, I think.
Nice, because I just put Art Glass for everybody.
No, I don't have her. I just have the Art Glass. I just know that I just remember that entire exchange between her and Frey being like, "Ooh, your name has prestige. Here's my lovely, sweetie granddaughter."
It was funny. What did you think of? Oh no, wait, that's characters.
That later. Wait, what's next? Is characters, right? Haven't we
we've been talking about characters, so like maybe we just keep the characters now. It's fine.
So, what do you think of the setup of Frey's character, where we get to see him what he's like in London, and then we get to see what he's like in Edinburgh?
I'll venture on and say like. I didn't mind him in London because we were setting up his character. I'm like, okay, this is how he is.
Yeah.
And then he gets to Scotland. I'm like, wow, you're kind of a pompous ass. Is mostly what I thought was. He's like, oh, my finest suits, my silk this, and blah 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 that, and I got mud on my shoes. Mm-hmm. Like it's just so I'm like, oh, you kind of sound like that 10-year-old girl.
A dandy.
A dandy.
Oh
yeah. But console, and it reminded me of. One day when it was raining, this kid came in crying, and he's like in grade 2, and he's crying because he has this tiny little spot of mud on his shirt.
But okay, but I think it's different though, because like for him, that like the 2-year-old, like the grade 2 shirt is probably like very special for him because it's like, look, it's like a Pikachu shirt or something like that.
It wasn't.
Right? But you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
young.
No, I know. It's just
and,
that's the memory I brought up. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, you're just kind of like really whiny about everything.
Yeah, and I think because of Frey's like upbringing and his social status, like he was in a world where he was not supposed to be inconvenienced by these things.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Right? Like the fact like the reason why like, at the very beginning he was by himself was because he chose to be by himself, right? He's like, no, I don't want to like live under my family's shadow and blah blah blah. My brother is so amazing and my younger brother is like he's too naive. But like I'm gonna try and make a name for myself. But I still want a maid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you got to follow through with. She seemed like the right person for him.
Yeah. Sorry, I remember the plot twist at the end. Never mind. Go ahead. Go.
I really enjoyed the fact that he seemed kind of like an underdog at the beginning. You know, he's losing his job, and then they're trying to give him a second chance, and he's lost his fiance, and you're going, "Oh, this poor guy just can't catch a break." And then he goes to Edinburgh, and I don't know what it was, but I completely took a 180 on him, and I found him to be. I mean, he was a fish out of water, but he was just not he was a city boy in a country setting. And suddenly he wasn't the underdog. He was sort of the, you know, it's like when you get those movies or whatever that take the city cop and put them in the country. Yeah. And it was kind of that turnaround where his character, I suddenly didn't like his character.
Yeah, it was.
I liked him enough in London, but I kind of was like, you know, just go with it. Just take a chance. Come on.
Yeah.
Give everybody else the benefit of the doubt.
I think we kind of lost Poon, but no, he's
oh yes, frozen.
He's kind of frozen. Oh wait, there he is. There he is. Hey.
I'm just gonna stay on my phone.
You've got 2 feeds coming in.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry, you guys.
This really
sucks.
Oh. Oh, he's gone again. I was also gonna say I agree with you, Kron, with really liking him in the beginning, and then he goes to England or goes to Scotland. You're like,
yeah, because well, you pity him for his situation because you know he's gonna kind of like I lost everything.
You're pitying someone for their situation. Is that my fault because I have speakers on?
No.
Let's see.
Oh dear. This is really, really funny. Sorry. This is really funny. I think we might have to reshoot this. I'm just saying.
Yeah, maybe. Is it better now? I don't know.
Yeah. Now I don't have double of you.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm gonna re-say what I just did. I was saying, yeah, I totally agree. Like, the book sets you up as in like, oh, that's cool. Like, he's now lost everything, so he can like be a new man, and he has this opportunity, even though he was complaining about it immediately. He's like, I don't want to go there. It's full of like dumb people who like have weird accents. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and then I think it's because he was working under someone in Edinburgh, but pretty much because he was just like, well, I'm kind of working for the Royal Commissioner, and he's kind of like bigger than you.
Yeah.
In Edinburgh, he had no one really to answer to, and he immediately already casted McGrady aside, be like, this weird division.
Yeah.
Right. And he's just like, okay, well, you know what? Like, it's just gonna be temporary, whatever. As long as this gets my job back, I don't really care. So I think it's because but he already had that arrogant streak to him, right? Like how he reacted to his fiance breaking up with him.
Yeah.
Is his name Catherine?
That's
the stepmom.
Eugenia.
Eugenia,
something like that.
I mean, thank God they didn't get married.
Yeah.
And by the way, our Glass's granddaughter is Carolyn. That's her name.
There's a snooty character in the book where she's kind of just like a snooty little girl. Her name's Carolyn.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
She sounds thrilled.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so I mean.
So I just realized why this book is so much fun. It's as soon as you said created a special division and Carolyn's here. X-Files?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's totally what it is, right?
It actually is.
Right.
It is. It's like it's Victorian. She's okay. Carolyn's interested now. It is. And that was the thing. That was one of the reasons why I was interested. I'm like, oh, there is a paranormal division in 1880 at Edinburgh. Sweet. I totally want to read about this. It really is that allure of the occult, right? Like, oh, it's the devil's violin, all that stuff. So it's kind of, you want to read.
And okay, when they're giving us descriptions of the murderer and they're telling us that it's a eyeballs, immediately you go, I'm sorry, what? I thought this was a human.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so it just reminded me of an episode.
Yeah. And I think like since like we'll talk about the killer now. My problem with the killer, since we're on Mr. Five Eyes, is like, I mean, there is a description of like the disease that he has, which is what's it called? Marfan syndrome.
Marfan, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that's really interesting. How convenient
that
this person can like dislocate all of his joints and like wiggle through things, right? But I was like, just because you can dislocate your joints doesn't mean that you can actually still freely use your limbs. Like it just, I don't know. For me, I was just like, for me it was very Deus Ex Machina.
Yeah.
Syndrome was popped up because I thought it was just going to be like a little bit more like clever, like, oh, how did you get in and out of the place without this? I was like, oh, I have this like special like tool that I made so I can like go right through the frames. Like it's very paper thin, but it's strong. It's like made out of diamonds. I don't know.
Sorry.
I don't know. But like it's just okay. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah.
But I still don't understand. It's just, I mean, I thought for me, it's just very Deus Ex Machina. Like when I read it, I was like, oh, okay, so like out of nowhere, there's this brand new character who's like related to one of the side characters, and I was like, okay, that's very convenient.
That's what frustrated me the most, was that it was a character that hadn't even been introduced that was the guilty. Because normally that's what they do in murder mysteries. So what I was doing was I was keeping all the notes of all the people and being like, ooh, this person has motive. This person has motive.
Yeah.
But then it's like pulling.
Do you know who I thought it was?
Pardon?
Yeah, I thought it was Danilo Caroli.
Oh, really?
Really?
I thought it was him because like
I thought it was the wife.
Like, oh, like he like runs away, right, to get like the doctor, and he never shows up, and they like find his arm, but they don't really know if it's his arm or not because they don't have DNA testing at the time, right? They just assume that it's his arm.
Cut off his arm.
Yeah.
He could have found someone. He could have found someone else, right? But I was like, hey, it could have been Carolee. For me, it was the entire time, and I knew, like, I thought that the wife might have been, but the thing is, like, with her arthritis, she wouldn't have been able to do anything anyways.
Yeah. So I thought it was Joe Fiddler, the
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because as soon